Dear friends, today we will delve into one of the most captivating mysteries that have marked the history of the Christian faith, the apparition of the Virgin Mary in Fatima. An event that not only shook the world with its prophecies but continues to influence millions of faithful around the globe. But what really happened in that remote location in Portugal? And what message did the Madonna leave us? Stay with us to find out. Imagine for a moment being under the sky of Portugal in the distant year of 1917. Three shepherd children who received a fundamental message from a divine figure. But what secrets did they receive from that celestial figure? And how did they influence the course of history? Before we delve into this incredible story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you never miss our explorations into the mysteries of faith. In the heart of Portugal, amidst green hills and farmland, lies a small village called Fatima. At the beginning of the 20th century, this place was little more than a collection of scattered houses and cultivated fields, far from the main routes of progress and industrialization that were beginning to mark Europe. Here, life flowed to the rhythm of the seasons and religious traditions, deeply rooted in the souls of its inhabitants. In 1917, the outside world was shaken by tumultuous events. Europe was gripped in the throes of the First World War, a conflict that had brought death, destruction, and an unprecedented spiritual crisis. Portugal itself was not immune to these sufferings, with many of its young men leaving for the front, leaving behind anxious families and uncultivated fields. In this context of uncertainty and tribulation, the Portuguese people clung even more tightly to their faith, seeking comfort and hope in prayers and religious practices. Marian devotion, in particular, had deep roots in the heart of the nation, with shrines and pilgrimage sites attracting faithful from far and wide. It was in this seemingly insignificant village, in the eyes of the world, that three children, Lucia dos Santos and her cousins Francisco and Jacinta Marto, would experience an event that would transform them into witnesses of a message destined to resonate through the centuries. Lucia, age 10, along with Francisco, age 9, and Jacinta, age 7, were children of shepherds, accustomed to the simple life and the toils of working in the fields and tending to the flocks. Their daily lives were marked by a solid religious education, learned both within the family and through active participation in the life of their parish. Despite their young age, they were well aware of the difficulties their country and their families were facing, but they found in their faith a source of strength and hope. The choice of Fatima as the site of the Marian apparition would not have been random. This village, representative of the deep spirituality and simplicity of Portuguese rural life, would become the stage for an event that would bring a message of peace and conversion to the entire world. The morning of May 13, 1917, began like many others for Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta. After attending Mass, the three cousins set out to the fields to graze their flocks, unaware that their lives were about to change forever. While playing in a small area known as Cova da Iria, near their village of Fatima, the sky briefly darkened and they heard a sort of thunder. Looking upward, they saw what Lucia would later describe as a flash of light, which led them to believe that it was about to rain, so they gathered their sheep. However, as they made their way home, another flash struck them, and they saw above an oak tree a lady brighter than the sun. This figure was of indescribable beauty and radiated light more intensely than a crystal struck by the brightest rays of the sun, a detail that Lucia would remember for the rest of her life. The beautiful lady, as Lucia called her, asked the children not to be afraid and revealed that she had come from heaven with an important message. She asked them to come to the same place for 6 consecutive months, every 13th of the month, promising that in the end she would reveal her identity and the purpose of her apparitions. In this first apparition, the Virgin Mary emphasized the importance of prayer, asking the shepherd children to recite the rosary every day to obtain peace for the world and an end to the war. The message was simple yet profound, rooted in the context of a world war that had brought so much suffering and destruction. The children's initial reaction was one of wonder and fear, but also of deep inner peace. Despite their young age, they felt a strong sense of responsibility for the task that had been entrusted to them. They decided to keep the apparition a secret, but Jacinta, overwhelmed by emotion, ended up telling everything to her family. The reactions were mixed. While the Marto family believed the children, there was skepticism and ridicule from many in the village, including Lucia's family. From May 13th to October 13th, 1917, the Cova da Iria became the site of a divine appointment that would mark the history of Marian apparitions. In each encounter, the Virgin Mary revealed to the three shepherd children messages emphasizing the importance of prayer, penance, and conversion, with particular emphasis on the recitation of the Rosary for world peace and an end to the war. The beautiful lady, as Lucia called her, asked the children not to be afraid and revealed that she had come from heaven with an important message. She asked them to come to the same place for 6 consecutive months, every 13th of the month, promising that, in the end, she would reveal her identity and the purpose of her appearances. The most dramatic of the revelations occurred on the 13th of July when the children were shown a vision of hell, described by Lucia as a sea of fire, where the souls of sinners were struggling, screaming in pain and despair. This vision was accompanied by an urgent appeal for conversion and prayer to save souls from eternal damnation. It was on this occasion that the Virgin also revealed the first 2 secrets of Fatima, promising to disclose the 3rd secret in the future. In the subsequent messages, the Virgin insisted on the necessity of praying for the conversion of sinners, highlighting the power of intercessory prayer. The children were also asked to make sacrifices for sinners, teaching them that such acts of self-denial could lead to the conversion of many hearts and the salvation of their souls. In each apparition, the Virgin Mary reiterated the importance of the Rosary as a tool to obtain world peace. This underscores the vision of prayer not only as an act of personal devotion, but as a powerful instrument of intercession for the collective good. The promise that the recitation of the Rosary could influence the course of world events highlights the significance attributed by Mary to this practice. In the July apparition, the Virgin also announced that she would ask for the consecration of Russia to her Immaculate Heart as a means to avoid future wars and persecutions against the Church. This request would be central to the interpretations and responses of the Catholic Church to the Fatima apparitions in the decades to come. Each message imparted during the apparitions emphasized a call to spiritual action in a world torn by conflicts and distant from God. The heavenly messages received at Fatima became a manifesto for conversion and prayer, inviting believers worldwide to reflect on their spiritual journey and the power of prayer. The scope of the messages of Fatima transcended the local and temporal context of the apparitions, projecting towards a universal call for peace and conversion that still resonates today. The sequence of the apparitions and the messages imparted revealed a divine plan for the salvation of humanity, rooted in hope, mercy, and the promise of a future reconciled with God. On October 13, 1917, marked the last of the 6 heavenly encounters in Fatima, culminating in an event that would be witnessed by tens of thousands of people and would go down in history as the miracle of the sun. The promise of a divine sign, announced by the Virgin Mary during the previous apparitions, had drawn an immense crowd to the Cova da Iria, composed of both believers and skeptics, all waiting to witness a predicted phenomenon. That morning, the sky was covered with dense clouds, and a fine rain dampened the gathered faithful. However, the crowd, which according to some estimates exceeded 70,000 people, remained in anticipation, hopeful to witness the promised manifestation. Among those present were journalists, photographers, and even personalities from the academic and scientific world, who came to observe and document the event. Around noon, after the pilgrims recited the rosary and the prayers of the three shepherd children, the sky suddenly cleared, and the sun emerged from the clouds, appearing as a dull disk that could be gazed upon without causing any discomfort to the eyes. Then began an extraordinary phenomenon. The sun started to dance in the sky, spinning rapidly, emitting lights of various colors that painted the earth, the people, and the surrounding clouds. After zigzagging in the sky, the sun seemed to approach the earth, causing terror among the crowd, only to return to its normal position afterward. The reactions of the witnesses were ones of amazement, fear, and in many cases, conversion. Previously skeptical individuals reported witnessing an event that defied any natural explanation. The newspapers of the time carried accounts of this event with headlines ranging from skepticism to wonder, and even the most critical publications had to admit that something inexplicable had occurred. The scientists present and those who later analyzed the reports were perplexed, unable to provide a satisfying explanation that fit within the bounds of known natural phenomena. The miracle of the sun was thus interpreted by many as a divine sign, a heavenly confirmation of the messages conveyed by the Virgin Mary to the three shepherd children. The miracle of the sun had a profound impact both on a personal level for those who witnessed it and on a global scale, drawing the attention of the entire world to Fatima and its messages. This event was a turning point in the history of the apparitions, conferring upon them an authority and credibility that would inspire faith and devotion in the decades to come. For the Catholic Church, the event provided a solid foundation for the future approval of the worship of the Fatima apparitions, contributing to the spread of the Marian message of prayer, penance, and conversion. The miracle of the sun represents a tangible reminder of God's presence and intervention in human history, inviting believers and non-believers alike to reflect on the spiritual reality that transcends human understanding. If you find the mystery of Fatima fascinating and want to support the search for truth, write Fatima in the comments. Every gesture of support helps us bring to light stories that deserve to be told. One of the most fascinating and mysterious aspects of the Fatima apparitions is the three secrets revealed by the Virgin Mary to the shepherd children. These secrets, communicated during the apparition on July 13, 1917, contained visions and prophecies regarding the future of the Church and the world, enveloping Fatima in an aura of mystery that persists to this day. The first secret revealed at Fatima was a vision of hell. Lucia, the eldest of the three shepherd children, described this vision as a sea of fire, populated by demons and souls in torment, a place of torment and despair. This terrible vision was accompanied by an appeal from the Virgin for conversion and prayer, with the goal of saving souls from eternal damnation. The message emphasized the importance of penance and the recitation of the Rosary as means to obtain divine mercy. The second secret concerned the end of the First World War and the premonition that another, even more devastating war would break out during the pontificate of Pius VII if humanity did not convert, and if Russia was not consecrated to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. This prophecy seemed to come true with the outbreak of the Second World War, highlighting the prophetic vision of Fatima and the importance of returning to God to avoid future catastrophes. The third secret of Fatima has long been the subject of great speculation and mystery. Revealed only in the year 2000 by the Holy See, it consists of the vision of a bishop dressed in white who, crossing a city in ruins and praying for the souls of the corpses encountered, is finally killed by a group of soldiers who shoot him. This vision has been interpreted as a prefiguration of the assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II that occurred on May 13, 1981, exactly 64 years after the first apparition of Fatima, an event that the Pope himself attributed to the protection of the Virgin Mary, who would have deflected the bullet and saved his life. The secrets of Fatima are part of a tradition of prophecies and private revelations in the history of the Catholic Church, carrying a message of conversion, prayer, and hope. Despite the sometimes unsettling content of the visions, the emphasis is always placed on the power of divine mercy and humanity's ability to influence the course of events through faith and moral action. The impact of the secrets of Fatima on the collective consciousness and the life of the Church has been profound, stimulating discussions, studies, and deep reflections. They underscore the importance of a personal and communal response to spiritual and worldly challenges, inviting believers to reflect on their actions and their faith in a context of turbulent historical events. Through the three secrets, Fatima emerges not only as a place of Marian apparition, but as an urgent call to conversion and peace, a message that, although rooted in the specificities of the 20th century, continues to resonate strongly in the heart of the 21st century, urging humanity to rediscover its spiritual path towards God. What if we told you that some believe the last secret has not yet been fully revealed? What do you think it might still conceal? Share your theories in the comments. The story of the Fatima apparitions is inseparably linked to the lives of the three shepherd children, Lucia dos Santos and her cousins, Francisco and Jacinta Marto. After the apparitions of 1917, their lives were profoundly marked by these spiritual experiences, influencing not only their personal journeys, but also the worship and devotion that developed around Fatima. Francesco, described as shy and reserved, was deeply touched by the visions of Fatima. Although he did not directly hear the words of the Virgin Mary, he saw and felt the apparitions. After the experience, his life became an expression of contemplation and sacrifice. He dedicated himself to prayer and penance, eager to console the hidden Lord and to make sacrifices for the conversion of sinners. His brief life was an example of silent faith and spiritual dedication. Francesco died on April 4, 1919, less than 2 years after the apparitions, as foretold by the Virgin. He was beatified in 2000 and canonized on May 13, 2017. Jacinta, with her liveliness and sensitivity, was deeply shaken by the visions of hell and the fate of sinful souls. Her life became an incessant offering of prayer and suffering for the salvation of others, showing extraordinary spiritual maturity for her age. Like her brother, Jacinta also felt the imminent end of her earthly life, courageously accepting the sufferings that were predicted for her. She died on February 20, 1920, and was also beatified in 2000 and canonized on May 13, 2017, alongside her brother. Lucia, the only one of the three to survive into adulthood, became the custodian of the messages of Fatima. After the death of her cousins, she entered the monastery of the Sisters of Saint Dorothy and later became a discalced Carmelite, living a long life dedicated to prayer, meditation, and the spread of the message of Fatima. She wrote the memoirs detailing the apparitions and the secrets revealed by the Virgin Mary. Lucia played a crucial role in promoting devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, a request made during the apparitions. She died on February 13, 2005, at the age of 97. The cause for her beatification was opened in 2008. The lives of the three shepherd children of Fatima are a living testimony to the transformative impact of encountering the divine. Their response to the apparitions, characterized by faith, sacrifice, and obedience, has become a model of Marian spirituality. Through their simplicity and profound spiritual experience, Francesco, Giacinta, and Lucia have shown how grace can work in extraordinary ways in the lives of believers, guiding them on a path of conversion and dedication to God. In the years following the apparitions, the fame of Fatima grew exponentially. The construction of the sanctuary of Our Lady of Fatima, which houses the Chapel of the Apparitions, became a landmark for millions of pilgrims from every corner of the globe. This sacred site, along with the Basilica of Our Lady of the Rosary, built in the 1930s, and the Basilica of the Holy Trinity, completed in 2007, represents the beating heart of Marian devotion in Fatima. The importance of Fatima has been recognized even at the highest level of the Catholic Church. Several popes have expressed their devotion to the sanctuary and its message, emphasizing Fatima's role in promoting peace and conversion in the world. Popes Pius XII, John XXXVIII, Paul VI, John Paul II, Benedict XVI, and Francis have visited the sanctuary, offering gestures of devotion and officially acknowledging the importance of the messages of Fatima. John Paul II, in particular, attributed his survival after the assassination attempt on May 13, 1981, to the Virgin of Fatima, further strengthening the bond between the pontificate and the sanctuary. The story of Fatima is a tapestry of faith, mystery, and prophecy that continues to evoke interest and debate. Beyond the visions and messages, the lives of the three shepherd children and their destiny marked by the apparition of the Virgin Mary remind us of the importance of faith, prayer, and listening. Fatima invites us to reflect on our spiritual life and the message of peace that is more relevant today than ever before.